Hello and welcome to Master Retro Format. This is a channel for you to get better at retro format Yu-Gi-Oh! And today it's another episode of our 10-win challenge. Today we're playing with Blackwings. Again, with this video series, I'm trying to get 10 wins in a row with a specific deck, and I'm mostly playing, meta decks, at least at the beginning, but I plan to continue with other kind of more tier 2 decks as well. I think probably one of the next decks I will do is maybe Delon Turbo, maybe Hero Beat or something like that, maybe even anti-meta, something a little bit less tier 1, because I've covered most of the tier 1 decks. And yeah, this is the deck I'm playing Blackwings, and I'm playing with this list. This is, I mean, again, Blackwings are pretty standard. This is similar to some of the other lists I've seen. The one kind of difference that I'm not playing 7-2s, I'm not playing Oppression, I am playing Milfors, I'm playing one Book of Moon. I've seen some lists play 2, I've seen others play 3, I mean, but generally speaking, I would say 1 to 2 is probably correct. And then playing one My Body as a Shield. And I just think like, yeah, I was trying to think like what card to play, and whether should, just trying to figure out like what would be the best option. I think this deck is really sometimes vulnerable to stuff like Bottomless, and yeah, Bottomless, Torrential, Milfors, even in the mirror match, Icarus attack, anything like that. I think that My Body is good against. I mean, it makes some matchups better, like GBs. It make Right Sword. This can just basically win you the game against Right Swords. So yeah, I just thought this is a pretty good flexible card. It helps you go for some more aggressive pushes. It is awkward at times. If you don't have monsters and you're left with this, it can be awkward. But anyway, yeah. So this is the list. I'm playing 3 Legacy of Yata. I don't know if this is like the current, best thing, but I just think this works so well in a deck like Blackwings. I've talked about this in the past. Like, I think one of the strongest things this deck has is things like having a monster on the field, and your opponent has to play around Icarus and Karut and Yata. So if they go aggressively for your backer with MST or Heavy to play around Icarus, and they get punished by Yata, and so on and so on. So yeah, I mean, another thing is they try to play around it by just committing a monster, attacking you and attacking over your monster, but then you punish them with the Karut. So yeah, I just think this deck is very hard to play around at times. It can have very, very strong opening hands, the typical, what do you call, auto wins. Against good players, I don't think they're completely auto wins, but against random, this deck is extremely good against random stuff. If your opponent just summons a monster that's not a Raikou, and you have Shura, it's already, it's such a big advantage. And then in the side, this is also again up for the debate and so on. Playing one deck Devi, 3 pulling the rug, playing a Sidra, the 2 Crows, Nobleman, Book of Moon. I don't know if Nobleman is that great anymore. Maybe something else like a Mind Control might be better. I don't know, still have to figure that out. And then the Extra deck, I was almost thinking, since we're playing 2 values in here, to play another Armor Master, but I wouldn't really know what to cut. Maybe the Mistworm doesn't come up often enough, but I think it comes up enough that maybe I would like to have access to it. I was thinking maybe the Tattooer. It's kind of one of those synchros that you don't always need, something like you already have for other options. You have the Stardust, you have Corrosor, you have Darken, and generally speaking, if you're making Totoro, unless you have a specific lead on the back row, you're usually making Stardust for protection. But yeah, so I haven't really decided exactly what to cut. Perhaps we can cut maybe the Mistworm. It's realistically the one that's kind of easier to cut in all of this. But anyway, let's go into some of the replays and see if we can get 10 wins. In the first replay, we're playing against 60 card Spectre. This is a 60 card well, no, this is not a 60 card deck, but this is kind of a spicy, anti-meta, mirror your opponent out deck. Yeah, not exactly what you call a meta deck. Here I was trying to read and figure out, so he goes for this Necrophase shenanigan. He has D-Fisher, sets this up and passes. Here we go for... I go for this play. I don't know exactly the reason behind it, except that I really wanted to get something on the field, not get it, not go into yeah, just like not get punished by certain things. I don't know exactly if this is the best way. Based on what I see now, I also wanted to hold my MST for something more important. So anyway, he goes for this. Our Sirocco gets banished. We end up discarding our hand, which is not great because we had the MST in there, but we draw into heavy, which is very good. Yeah, we get to heavy here, and now we go for this. This is a ton of damage. We don't have any darks in the grave to go for the Dark Arm. But anyway, here we go for more damage, and yeah, this is basically almost game. I decided to go into Stardust and Magical Android. Maybe not ideal. I could go into something else to go, like I could go into Armor Master and Stardust and then make the level 8 with value. But anyway, yeah, here we go for this. I mean, it's gonna be game. He torrentials, we can negate the Stardust, but we have enough for damage anyway. I had to check the defense because the Necrophase actually has 1800 defense, so if I attacked with Shura, it wasn't going to be game. Here's Sorcerer with the Consecrated Light, and that's where I was thinking, I don't have Fissure in my side deck. Maybe I should have at least one copy of that card, just to have a few more outs, but I don't think the Consecrated Light is like incredibly bad. And like here we go for the Blizzard. I decided to go for the YuGiOh, decide not to take that, of course. Here we MST this, we attack. Again, he has his Morphing Jar, which honestly I wasn't expecting. We take the Necrophase, we go for attacks. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Here I didn't realize that I don't get to mirror because it goes to exile, it has to go to the deck. But yeah, here apparently he doesn't show me where he special summons him, which is a bit weird. Like, I don't know exactly how the Morphing Jar works. But yeah, basically you special summon them face down in defense, and like, apparently I don't get to know where they've been summoned. And here he goes for damage. We have heavy and we have Gale next turn, so like, I really don't mind. This now. He goes for Consecrated Light. I need to Solemn this, otherwise we basically lose. Here we have this and yeah, set and pass. He goes to defense, sets this up. Yeah, we can. I mean, shuffling here doesn't really hurt because yeah, we can just do this and we get the Shura, and now we summon them without him knowing apparently. We heavy and we Nobleman, and yeah, there was no chance. We're playing against this random deck. I guess like he had the Fader, so he wasn't dead, but I mean, he was gonna be dead soon anyway. But basically I think the point of this deck is to like to mill me out basically. Interesting deck, not really something you see every day. In the next replay we're playing against Edison, kind of a low rate opponent. He was a bit like just a little bit annoying when we played, but anyway, you'll see in a second. It was kind of yeah, I don't know. We start off, we both have the Whirlwind. He has Bottomless, so that's why I mean I decided to go for this Karut play. Generally speaking, I would play around it, but we have my body as well, so like we are in pretty good position. Here we go to half this, and we go for the Unwind to play around Karut. He tries to Bottomless, we have the My Body. We crash with the Unwind into Karut. He doesn't realize that the Shura doesn't get the effect because the Shura has to be on the field. Now we have the Dark Arm, pop this, and like he's in a pretty bad position. He Book of Moons, like this is a pretty big mistake in my opinion. I think you need to summon this first, and then Book of Moon when you attack or something. Yes, you lose to Storm, but like if you, by doing it this way, you lose also to Deep Prison, Mirror Force, anything else. The other thing I would say is that you probably want to Allure, because if you draw into, you know, let's say another monster and heavy, you would basically win the game. So like if you draw into Allure, if you're not going for Allure, I think it's a mistake to me. I know that he's going for the out, but I don't know, I think you have to imagine they have some interaction. And I think it's a big mistake to go for Book of Moon before, exactly for this reason, because now I know exactly what you're doing. I can summon the monster. Maybe if you do it the other way, I would summon the book, so you still have the monster. Not that it matters against Dark Arm, but the thing, if you have Sorim, it doesn't matter. You have to think about, if I don't have Sorim, like, if you, by the way, before, I can Bottomless now your Bora, which maybe I wouldn't have. If, I mean, I probably still would have, but like, if you do it like this, like, I have to Deep Prison before you book, and like, you know, I have to specifically think about book or Karut, so anyway, here, yeah, doesn't, he goes like with kind of like an obnoxious ha ha ha, and then I give him the same because I just think it's a little bit it's a little bit I don't think he speaks English well. He's trying to say that like in Italian we say that this is like ass equals like big luck, like big ass is like being lucky. And yeah, he thinks because I had a prison underneath. Anyway, like he doesn't really make sense trying to explain his play. I was just trying to like maybe give him some advice, but anyway, he sided into pulling the rug, which I think it's just not good against Blackwings. Like the only thing that this stops is the Blizzard, and that's exactly it. Like that's the only thing that this stops. Here he bottomlesses the Bora. We set one pass. We set the Icarus. Again, we're playing back and forth. I want to use my Icarus at the right time to get some value. He's also playing this, I think, way too slow. Like, he's holding Sirocco, but he should know that the other reason not to Cobain a monster is that I don't want his Sirocco to be live. So, yeah, here he dash shoots us. He takes the Shura. I think he need to take the Dark Arm, to be honest, but okay, because I have the Bora anyway. Here he allures, finally gets rid of one Sirocco. Goes for this play, which I have to, you know, commend, because if he went for Shura, it would get bottomless most likely. So by doing this, he plays around it. Yeah, we take some damage here. Now we can go for the Bora. Bora is going to get to attack over at least, and we get some value. He can decide what to do. He goes for the Deep Prison, which I think is just like that's a 3-4-2 for me. And like even though he's going to put some pressure, now he books his Shura, but again, like he's going to be like this is not going to end well for him. Now we go into the Armwing. I'm missing a third Dark, so and I don't use my Sirocco yet. The Armwing is going to do a ton of damage to him. I'm holding my Sirocco because I know he could have the Gale, so that's why he goes with the YuGiOh. He's going to take the Armwing because that plays around my Dark Arm, but Sirocco is going to get to attack. Dark Arm pops this, and now we have the answer. He goes for this. We have the Deep Prison, so as protection, Dark Arm is going to pop the Deep Prison, which there was really a point in setting, and we just keep the value in hand just in case somehow he tries to kill us with Sirocco. Now he goes for the Blizzard, and like, okay, that does clear a little bit, but yeah, we top deck Blizzard as well. To be honest, we didn't even need the Blizzard. We could just crash the value, and then the Dark Arm would kill his Brionac, so didn't really matter there, to be honest. But anyway, the Blizzard is game. Yeah, he laughs again, not realizing that like I could even just crash the value. He's not dead this turn, but he's gonna be dead next turn. I really struggle to find one card that would get him out of this situation. Like, I don't think there's a single card that would save him here, because he would be down to nothing. I would have value in the grave. Actually, he would actually be dead. We would even have the Armwing. So maybe actually that was even better. We didn't even need to go for the YuGiOh. We could go for anyway, for anything, whatever we wanted here. Didn't really matter. It was just gonna be game regardless. Here laughing again. I understand, I can understand the frustration when somebody gets lucky, but I really think that like he played this poorly as well. Of course, drawing Dark Arm, of course, is great. That's all too, but especially in game 1, you saw how he Book of Moon preemptively. That's a sign of like just really bad sequencing, in my opinion. I think you need to do that after you summon, after you attack, because that gives the least amount of information to the opponent. Next Reaper, we're playing against Who Cares, WTF. He's playing, looks like Lightsworn. Here we have, one of the plays I like to do around with Blackwings is set 2 with Yata, because if they have the heavy, they're gonna waste it now. He goes into heavy, and we trade the heavy 1 for 1, but we can set our back row next turn, and we traded with the heavy pretty well. Here I decide to set 2 and pass. He just basically he was gone for like a while, so anyway, he gave me the win. Not really sure what he was going on. I guess like the bell. He gave me the win because he was like gone for a while from Duel. I don't know. I didn't ask him to give me a win. I just called the judge after 10 minutes because I didn't want to wait the whole day. Anyway, we go into game 2. Yeah, kind of like a weird game 1. Now I know, I basically didn't know what he was playing until now. Now I know that he's playing Lightsworn, so I didn't really side in that well. I just sided in Nobleman because he's not a monster. That was like my only information. Here we go for Sirocco. I go for attacks. He has double Wolf in hand, so top decks a recharge, which is insane here. Another recharge that's just perfect. Here I decide to MST in response, simply because I was afraid that this would be a beckoning right or something, and I want him to have to chain the beckoning with only 3 cards. So yeah, maybe a mistake, because it tells him that the JD is gonna be completely fine. But yeah, we could have saved some damage. I think perhaps it might have been a mistake. Now he's got everything. He mirrors here, and the wolf comes down. Now we have the Shura, and this is where like summoning this Lyra without the Gardener in the grave is gonna bite him, because yeah, he's playing like this is really gonna be a problem for him. He even setting heavy, I really don't understand. Just trying to fake some back or something. Yeah, so now we can go for Gale, we can go for the Blackroot and clear his off field and set 2 and pass. Top decks Lumina. Decides not to use Prio, which, okay, but anyway, goes for attacks, doesn't use the Lyra effect. I understand trying to go for game, but I don't know, I just really feel like out of 2 back row, like at least you could have gotten some value with the Lyra. Anyway, we top deck Dark Arm, which of course we make a kind of a slightly fancy play of popping our own value, so that then the on-wing can come down, and then we have the Bora, and this is just game. This is 4k but plus 2800, and if he does have the goals, we have monsters we have 1 monster in the grave to pop it. Next we play against Piety, who's on again another like really weird limit area B shenanigans type of deck. Here I decide again not to go for Silk. I'm playing as if this could potentially be Raikou, so I am really trying to basically play around this. Now we go for the Yatta. I have the heavy, so I decided to just flip this and attack. If it was a Raikou, I think he would have flipped it by now. And yeah, we end up MSTing. We have Sirocco, Bora, Blizzard. We go for the Brina, and we make kind of like an interesting play, just kind of playing maybe even too aggressively. Bounce the Tomato, don't really want to know what this Tomato brings, and go for attack. He has the Battle Fader though, and we still have the heavy in hand, which we set. Here we bounce this again, and we just start going for damage. Yeah, he takes the damage here. He upstarts. I really don't understand. This is the deck of books. Yeah, don't really get what's going on with this. We bounce this again. I mean, the Brina getting is just really good in this type of matchup. Go through the limit area. We have the heavy, and this is going to be game. Yeah, I don't know if it was game exactly, but he decided it was game. So here he sets this up, and now I know I'm not playing against like a Raikou deck, so I go for this. I could go for the Shura, to be honest, might be better. He didn't bribe my Whirlwind. Go for the Gare. Gare is gonna have and pop it, and well, actually going for Shura didn't make sense because the limit area B. And yeah, I could go here for a Synchro, but I decided to hold my deck heavy, just because I wasn't sure like if he was gonna have more things, and it's very obvious if like we, it becomes very obvious if like we make a Synchro under this. And anyway, yeah, here I don't understand exactly what he's playing at. Yeah, Federal Defini, I mean, he's cooking up with something, but anyway, we get a pretty easy win here. I think game 1 was a little bit more of a game. This game would have been like his back row is not good enough to play against Blackwings. Next we're playing against Mr. Ted, who's playing X Sabers. Yeah, again, we go for this play again with this Legacy of Yatta. He doesn't go for the heavy yet, so he doesn't fall for the trap, but he has all these like this shenanigans. We go for the Bora, and we decide to attack here, hoping he deep prisons or something so we can chain the Icarus attack. Here we pass. I could have gone for Shura, but I just thought that this might have been a Raikou or something, so I went for the Bora instead. Here we go for the Shura. He has a Saber Hole, so I'm kind of gutted that we fell into this trap, because we could have played around it with the Icarus attack. But yeah, we get our Shura negated, which feels bad. Here we attack anyway. He sets the Starlight. I decide to end phase this just because I'm afraid that he's gonna have something else, and I want to play around the Saber Hole, so I decide to Icarus this. Now we go for the Blizzard. We attack first. I mean, just afraid of like running into something. We go for the Wing. Now we Yatta and try to attack. Here he has this. MST is in end phase, and yeah, as Saber Hole, we go for the value to start doing some damage. Again, he has God. I mean, we have to like be really careful here. Here we attack with value. This pops and mirrors 3, and yeah, we see that we're playing X-Saber. Dash shoot completely whiffs. We see his hand and we keep attacking. I could summon more into this, but I'm just playing this a bit too slow maybe. I really want the Karut to be used. I decide to let this go because the Karut could be useful in the future to protect the gear. And now we attack over this. He goes for the Golem's emergency call. I decide to Icarus attack pop 2, and this is actually a pretty nice finish. Then we MST the Gravity Bind, and now we attack, and this is we're gonna do the piercing damage. Plus we have the Karuts for game. So yeah, basically we found a line to get the win through a lot of these things. Now he goes for this. We attack. He has the hamster, and the Shura is gonna summon the value. We go for Cadaster and pass. He decides not to bottomless or anything. We deck heavy, and he lets this happen, by the way. I guess like this only answers the Raikou, so it's okay, but yeah, he has his judgment. He has other ways to interact with it, but he just lets this happen. Now we go for Legacy. We draw the Dark Armed, but again, Dark Armed, we have 4 names in the grave, so it doesn't really work. I'm just waiting for a chance to summon my Sirocco, but I decide to go for the Blizzard here. We go for attacks. We summon the Dark Armed, banish 1 to pop. He chains the bottomless. I honestly, like, okay, I get it that like you don't want to pay half your life, but same time, you know, it's pretty risky to do this. He's pretty bricked with his hand. Here we go for attacks. Mirror Force, and I was thinking, and eventually, and like he just left the Duel out of nowhere. I really don't understand why. Yeah, I guess he had to go. Next Reaper, we're playing against Mr. Frank. He looks like to be like an experienced player. He looks like he's playing Machina Control or something like that. We just set 1 pass, and here I really regret setting 1. I think the better play would have been maybe to set value or just to set nothing, just pass, because I think, yeah, like this play really got punished by the Raikou. Here I just pass, and the Raikou of course cooks me. The reason why I didn't set values to play around Caius potentially. Anyway, he goes for charge here, and yeah, we're not in a great position. Just the way we traded in game 1 is not great. We take damage. He just runs into potentially goals because he has Caius, so a little bit telegraphed now. Now we have the Shura though, and the Shura is gonna get some value. Here I was kind of tempted to go for Black Rose or something like that, but I decided to go for the Gale instead. I set 1 pass. I could have gone into Armor Master, but I have double Karut, so I felt pretty safe. Now the Gear Frame comes down, yeah, here he attacks. I decided not to Karut here because I want to Karut on the Fortress. Here I decide to Karut, and like it pops. And we kind of go into a whole discussion, and it's pretty clear that anyway, he calls a judge, but we continue. It's pretty clear that the Shura works because it's kind of like a Goyo Guard, and they both activate in the same step. Shura doesn't work with the Raikou because Shura is no longer on the field, but when the Fortress is in grave, Fortress is Chain Link 1 because it's mandatory, Shura is optional, but it's Chain Link 2, and they both resolve in the sub-step 7 of the damage step, so we get the summon off the Shura. Now we go for the Blizzard. He has the Crow, and I decide to basically go into Cataster just to have some protection. Looking at his hand, it's not great, but anyway, it is what it is. Here we go for the value just to start doing damage because it does seem like he doesn't have a lot going on. We just pass. Here he just passes back. Now we go for the value again, and I don't know why I didn't set the dash shoot here, to be honest. I guess like I was just holding it for something. I really should have set the dash shoot here. Now Sirocco, he doesn't have any more targets for the Raikou. Now eventually dash shoot does come down and basically wins us the game. Yeah, he just basically gives up. Now yeah, he starts off with the Gear Frame, which is a great start for him. And yeah, this is pretty tough to fight through, to be honest. He also has goals, which is just really good. I decide to heavy here, but I do kind of run into this. The reason why I heavy is that I know he's playing Dust Tornadoes. I really don't want my back row to get Dust Tornadoed. I really want to draw out of this. And here I try to go for damage, just try to push a little bit. He drops the goals. At least we have the Mirror Force to back it up, so that was like my hope. Here we Mirror Force, and he sets a monster passive. We have Legacy Viata, Whirlwind, go for the Shura. Shura adds Karut. Now, a few different options. I decide to go for this. Yeah, Shura here summons a Gale. I could have summoned a value as well, but I know that I'm gonna search a value with the Blizzard next turn, so I decided to keep it in the deck. And here we go for damage. I decided to go into defense position Armor Master. He has the Avarice and yeah, shuffles the deck now, draws into the Gores again, which is kind of crazy. Goes into the Fortress. Fortress attacks. We take some damage. Sets a monster, passes. The point with doing this specifically is that yeah, like we can go for Brionac and we have 2 cards in hand, and yeah, we're just gonna win the game. Here this doesn't discard anything, we just attack for game. Next we're playing against Fletcher. He's playing, looks like zombies, which is a really fun deck. We start off set 3, again, we have Sirocco in hand, don't really want to summon the Shura, like I want to summon the Sirocco perhaps, and the Shura can catch him off guard and pop one of these set monsters if needed. Here we go for the Dasher. He has a pretty good hand, so I take the Dark Arm, really don't want to deal with that. I have outs for most of the other things. He goes for the Instant Fusion play, which, yeah, with Eteri, I expect him to go into a Black Rose, because that would put him 1 card ahead, I think, or actually will be pretty much final card. It goes for Stardust instead, which I guess is safer. Goes for Goblin Zombie. Here we take the damage. This mills us, and he doesn't attack with Stardust, playing around the Deep Prison, which I get it, but you know, it works in our favor in this moment. I know he has Mezuki and Kaios in hand. I decide to attack, of course, don't want to leave him with a chance to summon Kaios. Here he attacks. I decide to Karut here just to keep putting pressure. We have the Sirocco here as well, but yeah, I really want to hold the Sirocco for when I would need it. Here we go to attacks, and also I have the Icarus as well, so goes for the Goblin Zombie, try to tribute this for the Gale. Pretty sure this was supposed to stay on the field, so I could have Icarus it, but anyway, I decided to Solemn here. Yeah, he already uses normal. He goes for this, but here I actually was trying to figure out if, like, even though the Gale's effect are negated, if they can be used to target this anyway, even though the effect is negated, it can still be activated. So the cost is to target. And I don't know if you guys know the answer to this. Let me know, because for example with Skilden you can still activate and target things. So in theory, if this gets targeted, it gets destroyed. So if that's how it works, even though this is negated, when I actually have the attack, I would still destroy this by targeting this. So anyway, we have the brain control, so it doesn't really matter, and we get the win. Yeah, just kind of curious, if we didn't have the brain control, that would have been, you know, something game changing to know. So kind of curious if you know how that works, if like a monster summoned by Shura, which has effect negated, can still target or try to activate its effect. Now he sets 1 pass. I mean, I know this is not like I was hoping this would be Goblin Zombie more than this, because now we're gonna get hurt by a Kaios. I said to set 1 pass. We have the Crow as well. He brain controls, plays around Icarus, which I don't hate, to be honest. Goes for the Stardust, goes for Kaios. I think you need to Stardust here, and the reason why I use Bottomless is because of course, like, if he goes for Stardust we take less damage, but even if he goes for it I can Crow the Stardust. So let's go for the Reaper with the Book of Life, but we have the Crow. This way we don't take the damage. We mill 1 for the Goblin Zombie, take damage from Stardust. The Nobleman is kind of interesting. I just think it's good to banish those set monsters like the Turtle, but it's, you know, it's not perfect against zombies either. Here we go for Karut. Honestly, could have gone for Bora. I was just trying to figure out a way to play around Bottomless. Yeah, we attack over. He gets a Plague Spreader. I mean, we're pretty much cooked, depending on what he does. Yeah, here he pays half his life. I think he's got everything. He can go for the Dark End, and he gets a win. So we go to game 3. We set 3 and pass. Again, I bring in Oppression. I have Icarus for if in case he prisons or Bottomless as my summon. And yeah, so this is great. Here he sets 2 and passes. He has a trap stun. Here we attack. Yeah, this could get awkward. Goes for Goblin Zombie. Here if he goes for Kaios, we can pop 2. He trap stuns the Echoes, but I think that's fine. Like that's an okay trade. We go for the Blizzard. I'm trying to get this I try to play around the Deep Prison by not making the Armring, and I'm trying to basically get some value of things of like this Blizzard before we have Oppression up. And at the same time, here he goes for Mind Control. I decide whether I want to Echoes that or not. I decide to let this go, but yeah, I don't know. I could have used Echoes. He tries to tribute it, but he can't. Goes for the Brionac. The Royal Oppression comes down and shuts this down. And now we're in a great spot. He prisons this, but that's fine. We just pass because we have the Sirocco. And we're gonna have Icarus next, so here we go for Sirocco attacks. Don't want him to get the Kaios down. Goes to the Reaper, sets 1 passes. Here we set a monster, pop both with the Icarus attack, and now Sirocco's gonna start doing a ton of damage. Like we even are pulling the rug now for the Kaios, and I mean we have a lot of life points to pay. And yeah, his whole hand is basically shut down by the suppression. Takes more damage. Yeah, summons monster. We go for Karut again, pushing for them. We have the Sorim as backup, and now we have the Karut to win the game right then and there. Yeah, just really solid overall. Oppression absolutely cooked the game, and this is the problem in my opinion with zombies, that yeah they just like can't, if they don't have an answer for the oppression, they're kind of cooked. Like the whole hand here was hinged on basically being able to Book of Life, instant fusion. Like without this oppression, like this was like he could summon both Kaioses, he could do all kinds of stuff. Unfortunately for him, we had the answer. Next we were playing against Masked Michael. I forgot what he's playing. He's playing Lightsworn, 41 cards. By the way, I should say that by the time this video comes out, RBT Paris would have happened. So I guess like I hope you guys had a great time at RBT Paris. I wasn't there. Anyway, here he starts off with Charge. I would start with the Recharge, unless you're really afraid of milling Lumina. I guess like for that reason specifically, it would make sense. So like you don't want to mill the Lumina. Now goes for Recharge, draws 2, mills 2. Yeah, now he could get the Garrett too if he wanted. We don't really have an answer for his stuff. He decided not to attack, which I understand. Of course, like it's pretty scary when I have 2 sets and all of that, and you really want to set up your grave, but I don't know. It is what it is. Here we go for Allure. Like he put no pressure on us. I saw he milled 1 Honest, or actually no, he didn't mill Honest. Here actually what I was gonna do is I was planning, if he asked me to go to damage step, this is a little bit of like a sneaky trick. If he asked me to go to damage step, I was gonna Book of Moon, his monster. So I attacked and I was waiting for him to, you know, say damage step, and if he asked me that, then I would Book of Moon his monster just to make sure the Shura attack goes through. But he didn't ask me, so we basically we get to kill the Lumina, and yeah, it was kind of it kind of worked out perfectly there. Yeah, here he summons a Tragoedia though, which was a little bit unexpected. I go for value. I want to go into a Catastro, and I really don't want Tragoedia to be there. So here I decide to use my Karut to go into Catastro and kill the Tragoedia. Here we have 3 sets, and like, it must be pretty scary for him. I decided to bottom with this just because I don't want to get everything popped by this Snipe Hunter. He does pop my Catastro though, and that's a bit unfortunate. The other thing I was thinking about is I thought he had already Judgment in his hand, and he had 3 names. I really didn't want to kill this Jane. I wanted to banish it with the Deep Prison. So anyway, here Jane mills, passes, set 1, pass. He goes for attacks. We Deep Prison this. And now he goes for Kaiko, which doesn't really hurt my deck that much. He has 4 dogs, or 5 dogs in grave already, so the dad is not useful. Here we go for Yata. Now what is great is that we can make Goyo and steal his own Kaiko. And this is great because this shuts down even like Chaos Sorcerer, or if he had it or anything like that. I decided to set, you know, not afraid of heavy because I think he milled it. And now we have my body, which is the ultimate protection. The Kaiko shuts down a lot of his things, you know, clothes or potentially Chaos Sorcerer, stuff like that. Dark, but which he can summon. He does shuffle with the Aaron. I could potentially Book of Moon it, but I just think it's not really worth it. Here I attack. I could Brain Control. I didn't have a game yet because it was just 5800. I could, if he mirrored, I think, one Honest, and I was thinking like if he had Honest, he probably would have attacked the YuGiOh or something. So I decided to attack and take her, and I want to mirror because I have value engraved, so I mirror the Sirocco. He goes for the Monster Incarnation, goes for the JD, tries to use JD, we have my body, and that's just game. So we go to game 2, then my body there, basically wins us the game. We go to game 2, we draw my body again, which I think is great in this matchup. I set bottomless pass because I'm expecting some type of a Raira play, or even something like a Kaiko, and yeah, I could also set nothing and just summon Sirocco, but I just thought, okay, don't let him mirror if possible. Here I get rid of the Sirocco. I want him to summon something I can kill with the Shura. Now he summons the Kaiko, which is a bit annoying. He even tries to banish my spells and traps, which you can't. But we top deck the Whirlwind, which is just perfect. We have the Gare. I mean, we had the Book of Moon anyway to attack over, but anyway, Gare. My boss was calling me doing this, so it was a little bit funny. But Gare attacks. Here he goes for Trag. I said to go for the Dark Hand and pop this. I was thinking I could Brain Control this, do something fancy, but if he has the DD Crow, then I can't copy the Rebel. So I just thought that this is better. We go for the Silver Wind, set 2 and pass, and again we have my body and we have Oppression, so we're really in an amazing spot. He draws Consecrated Light, but it's kind of too late. I already have a Field, and we have Dark End, which is just insane for this. Now we have my body and we have Oppression for the dad, and we are just in a perfect position. We have the Shura with the Whirlwind, and this is enough to deal damage per game. And this is gonna attack with the Gare, with the Karut, and just GG's. Next people are playing against Kundo, and he's playing, I believe, Gravekeepers. Yeah, this was kind of a spicy Gravekeeper deck. Here I decided to make the Shura play. The reason why I do this is that a lot of players are gonna try to crash their Cult Trooper or their whatever value, or just try to crash those small monster into a potential Raikou. But with Shura being 1200, it's gonna survive all the time, and if it doesn't, I do have the Deep Prison and all of that anyway. Here he just sets and passes, which does get completely cooked if I was playing Raikou, but I'm not, so a little bit unfortunate. Here I try to go for more damage, and I try to play basically into a Raikou, not that it matters a ton. I also have my body as shield for this. He Book of Moons here, which just feels terrible. If I had the Icarus, this would be great, but here he just sets all of this up, passes. This is 2000 attack, and I draw the MST, and it's just a little bit problematic, the fact that this is 2k, and now I'm trying to do some fancy play to play around, to basically just hope he makes some mistake. I go to attack with Shura. This is 2000 attack, by the way. I attack because I can chain MST to my own attack in battle step 2 and kill the Necro, and he can't Deep Prison anymore. He Deep Prisons here. Now we attack with the Bora again with the same plan, but he has a Deck Devi, and now he gets to take out Blizzard, which is not great, but it's not the end of the world. Here I decide to MSC this, and now I can replay attack the Raikou, which pops my Bora. I can't use my body here because we're in damage step, so it can't be used. Here I draw Legacy, which is actually a pretty good draw under Deck Devi. He summons this. I decide to bottom it just to not take a ton of damage. I guess I had the Deep Prison too. It would have been better perhaps to bottomless the Descendant here. I just wasn't ready for this to be another spy, and I didn't even know if he was playing multiple Descendants, but I guess with Necro Valley it makes sense. But all players play the triple spy and one Descendant. So anyway, it goes with this. I didn't even know that you could use this effect multiple times per turn. Anyway, pops 2, does damage. Here we top deck into the Bora, which is great. Bora attacks, and now we can just set and pass. And here he has Book, he has a Steroid. Steroid adds double Spy, which is a pain, just really a pain to deal with. He shows me Book of Moon, but anyway, here just pass. There's no point in attacking because 1, he can Book, 2, we know that this is a Spy, so. Anyway, I decided to Solemn this just because I don't want to deal with the Descendant, and I don't want him to pop my Deep Prison and so on. Here, he flipped this, summon the Descendant pops the Bora. We don't have my body anymore, and now the Prison, he Solemns, and yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Here we have the Whirlwind, go for the Blizzard, use both effects. If he books this, like he could have, like he could book this and like he would be fine, but anyway, going for this, it's a little bit, how to say, a little bit non-conventional in the sense that, like, yeah, we decided to go for this, and I want to make the Armed Wing because I think, first I want to attack over, I don't attack because, of course, it's Book of Moon anyway, but I guess, like, I might as well attack. The problem is that if I attack and he has Deep Prison, then my value is that anyway. I'm just trying to use this to take less damage. Here he attacks, and he uses Necro Valley now. We summon the Karut, we have the Gale. Gale is gonna come down in half. And like if he really wanted to, he could just Book of Moon my Karut. I think that would be the best play. Here we go for attacks. He's gonna Book of Moon my Brionac. And we can go now. I bounce the Necro Valley so I can use the value effect. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to. And we have the Armor Master. He top decks into Reborn Tuner, which goes into Black Rose. And yeah, really nothing I could do there. Pretty brutal. As the Necro, I top deck Sirocco and he top decks Astere, and that's GG. Yeah, a really close game, crazy game one. We lose unfortunately, but happens. The Sirocco would have been sweet though, but yeah, we just yeah. Anyway, going to game two, we set this up. I mean, I know now kind of what he's playing with, and I decide to, yeah, we go for a lure, we draw into the Whirlwind, go into Armor Master. This goes, I could bounce this into and go into something even fancier, but I decided just to play it not exactly slow, but like a little bit slow in the sense of like just preparing for this. He shows me my hand and he didn't actually discard these, he didn't realize that it's 1500 or less. The deck heavy is insane, took 3 cards already, and it's going to take this Raikou as well. Yeah, so it takes the Raikou finally. Eventually I have to send in the link. I actually made a mistake in explaining him. For those of you who don't know, this checks all the set monsters, and if they're below 1500 attack, it destroys them. All monsters which are like Tragoedia, which have question mark attack, are considered as 0 attack in the hand or set on the field, basically, so they would also get destroyed. Now, what happens here is that he draws into the commanded for Necro Valley. He goes for a Astere. I decided to Solemn this. I really need to close this game. I top deck the Dark Arm. But then it doesn't even matter really. I have plenty to win the game. Going to game 3, he draws 2, sets up this Necro Valley stuff. Yeah, he's playing Book of Moon, like, which is like really interesting for this deck. We set basically 4 and pass. Yeah, I could have played this more aggressive and tried to go into you know, like just try to attack and then chain MST or something like that, but he didn't Deep Prison, but I guess that would have been a little bit better. But then our Icarus would not be live, and I really don't want my Bora to get bottomless or Deep Prison, so I really thought this would be better. Now he sets 1. I decide to pop both with the Deep Prison. I MSC the Necro Valley. I go for the Blizzard, and like now we even have decked heavy, and yeah, he basically gives up. He says like, quite good hands you got, I guess, but like. It's a good hand, but I mean, I'm playing 3 copies of Blizzard, 3 copies of Bora, 3 copies of Icarus. MSC and Solemn are really the only things that are like particularly interesting about my hand. Anyway, we had the deck heavy as well. Into the last replay, this was the toughest match by far, and I think this is very, very interesting match and kind of the crazy one. I think, you know, this will determine whether or not we get the 10 wins. I don't want to spoil it because this was kind of a crazy match. Here we go first, we have a Dashut and bottom, like a pretty good hand. I could set value, I could set the Shura. I decided just to pass, like I really don't want to risk it. Here we Dashut. Unfortunately, by shotgunning Dashut, I can't take the Stratos, because that's really the card I want to take here. Unfortunately, yeah, shotgunning here kind of punished us, because now you can e-call for the Stratos. I decided to bottom with the Stratos, because I know he has the Call of the Haunted. I really don't want Stratos to come back and start popping my stuff. So I decided to bottom with this. Of course he has areas, but even with the areas he could Gemini me and so on. He dash shoots me now, takes the Shura. I just have to set and pass, and now we are kind of taking damage. Here I go for the Legacy. go for the value attack. He doesn't have really an answer. We have Karut. I'm just hoping he didn't set the card Haunted. Now we have the Blizzard, and I drew the Dark Arm, and the Dark Arm can win me the game at some point. Here we go for attacks, and what I should have done most likely is just kind of because I know about the bottomless from that shoot. I really don't want to summon my Dark Arm into the bottomless. What I could have done here is actually crash the value. I decided not to do it because it might telegraph too much that I have Dark Arm in hand. When he responded to the attack, I could just crash the value here, but I decided not to do it. Go for the Catastrophe, which gets banished. Now I know that like he could have something else as well, but anyway. Here I decided to play this throw. Again, pretty risky because like if this gets Mirror Force then it's a little bit awkward, but we still have the value. I go for this, try to attack, he prisons. Had I gone for Dark Arm, that would have been a lot better, but anyway. I really didn't want to run into Torrential or something like that, which I know that like, yes, that it's kind of scary, and I'm not even sure Beat plays that card, to be honest. Anyway, here he just keeps drawing, and I think he's passing again. We keep attacking, he keeps not drawing out, he didn't draw any water monster, and this is the problem of Beat basically, is that, yeah, they really have, that's kind of, I think, the ultimate problem. And he keeps breaking and we win the game, I guess thanks to Dark Arm, but like his hand was like not really doing anything. Now he starts off with basically plenty of monsters, Ecore, he's pretty much got everything, Dust Tornado, Bottomless. I mean, we are kind of in trouble. I decided to set 3 and pass. I'm really trying to get some value of this Icarus, and here I decided to first pop the back row in case it's what do you call it? It's Stargate Road or Solemn Judgment, because then we would be in very tough position. But no, instead he Gemini Sparks in response. We don't take any damage, but he does draw the Deep Prison. Here I go to attack, spray around the prison, and I was really worried about Deep Prison this whole time. I go for Catastrophe, and I have my body to protect me from Gemini Spark, but yeah, here he goes for this, and I was thinking when he summoned this, maybe he's going for a Miracle Fusion or something, and I didn't know he played Diva at this point, because he didn't have Diva in game 1. And yeah, here I draw, and I just pass the turn, because I'm playing on Deep Prison again, and yeah, I really don't want to get hurt by that card. I have Crow and my body, which are kind of like very situational cards. Here he sets 1, passes, I set 1, he does Tornadoes, my Bottomless, and now we have to be a little bit careful. He draws the Miracle tool, which pretty brutal, goes for his own Catastrophe, which, okay, now we take the damage, we're down to almost nothing, we draw value, which, yeah, the one-off value, draws into Gemini Spark, we set 2 and pass, goes for Future Fusion. I decided to MST this because I think, like, yeah, if it's just gonna get worse and worse, to be honest. I didn't even need to do that, but I think if he starts setting up his grave too, or getting, anyway, here he Gemini Sparks my set, which I really don't agree with, because like you're already like doing a ton of damage with this Arius. Like, I know you're playing around potentially Deep Prison or something, but even if a Deep Prison, then you get to pop the other one. I really don't like this play. Goes for the Absolute Zero, starts attacking. Fortunately, my body doesn't do anything. Here I set 1, pass, it keeps attacking, set another one, summons the Arius finally, and yeah, we lost the game. He had just so much advantage that game over me, and yeah, here we go. First, start off with a lure. I think you really want to shotgun a lure often, because if we draw the Whirlwind, or we draw Solemn Judgment, or we draw Dust Shoot, like it's all cards that like have a ton of value on turn 1. Here I decide to set 1, pass, just to play it slow. Here he decides to do nothing. Here we go for Sirocco attack. I don't know if I should have set 1, because like it is kind of scary. He heavies, we have the deck heavy, and yeah, we didn't really catch anything. I brought in the deck heavy because I know he plays Divas and so on, and I thought, yeah, deck heavy could be good against it hits the Ocean, hits the Gearman, hits a number of cards, but it's just okay in this spot. Here he draws Trapstone, which I'm gonna know about for the whole game. But what happens anyway? He attacks. We Mirror Force. I want to get out Gemini Spark, and let's see what he tries to hit this with the Gemini. I chain the Dust Tornado to hit his back row. And I know his hand, by the way, so I know his hand thanks to Deck Devi. I know he has Cyber, I know exactly what he has. He draws the Gearman, which I do hit, and then he has Cyber Dragon, Neos, and the Trap Sunset, and we have our value set. Here I decide to go for Sirocco, and here is where something really interesting happens. Like, this is where I make a massive, just absolutely, I know about brain control, by the way, and here I make just, I think, one of the biggest throws you've ever seen in your life. And this is exactly when it happens. I don't know if you're ready for it. Actually, I pause it for a second. Let me see. If you find the one way, I lose the game immediately in this position. Like, I lose the game face up. Keep in mind that my opponent has brain control. Keep in mind everything. And here it is. Summoning the Boran. This is the one way I actually, summoning an attack especially, I 100% guarantee that I lose the game. And I just for you guys know, like, when I was doing it, I was like talking with my girlfriend and everything. I was kind of a little bit I was a little bit distracted and everything. I was trying to kind of figure out how to kill him quickly and all that, but keep in mind, I know this is traps, and so I'm not really playing around anything. I know everything. I know brain control, so like this is extreme. Like, if I didn't know about brain control, maybe, but I knew about it, so like this is really bad for this reason specifically. Anyway, here I go for attacks. Yeah, I do the damage, and basically, like, what happens, and this is where I think sometimes you have to be a little bit. Here I say GG. I just threw the game, because, you know, all he needs to do basically to win the game is brain control my Sirocco, use the Sirocco effect to pump, the Sirocco will become 6000, and then if he attacks over the Bora, it's exactly 4300 damage. That's all he needs to do. Basically, he just needs to use his only one card, get my monster, and like the game would be over. He's not a super experienced player though, and so I shouldn't even written this, to be honest. And anyway, what is kind of funny is that he has me Y, sorry, and I decide, let's see, maybe there's a 1 in 10 chance that he misses it. I shouldn't have said it, and I was like, okay, never mind, just go on, just see. Just play the game and hope that maybe there's a 1 in 10 chance he misses. And he does miss it. He takes the Iron Wing, and yeah, that's just, I mean, I know about the trap stun. He drew the Consecrate Light, so the DDV did ended up taking actually 3 cards, which is not terrible, I think, right? It took actually, I don't know if it took 3 cards, but anyway, it took at least 2 cards, I guess. Yeah. He takes my own wing. If he took the Sirocco, pumped, attacked over, will be game. Instead, he takes his own wing, and that basically gives me the game, because we get this back. We know this is Trapstun. We summon the Blizzard, and we get the win. And I tell him that if you take the Sirocco, use the effect, and attack Bora, it's 4300 attack, 4300 damage. And basically that would have been game. And I think I'm really mad at myself that, like, I even put myself in this position, because there wasn't really, I mean, the only reason to summon Bora is to try to win the game more quickly, but that's actually exactly the way I lose the game on the spot. And yeah, I think that, you know, that was completely unnecessary, and yeah, just completely unnecessary. And yeah, we end up getting the win. We did get the 10 wins, but yeah, kind of a crazy game. Especially game 3, I kind of got lucky. Like, my opponents didn't punish me for like a huge, just massive mistake. This is where, like, you really need to focus in this game where you're playing, because, like, even in a spot that's completely winning, like, this mistake was about to cost me, against a good player, would have 100% cost me the game. Here's the replays. We did get the 10 wins. Yeah, again, but in this series we're actually on a really great streak. I've lost a couple games here and there, like, with, generally speaking, with some other decks, or like sometimes just like, you know, if I lose like a few games in a row, I decide to like start over and try to you know, do this again. But again, I mean, the level of the players we're playing against is not super high, but we have beaten some good players. Yeah, we got the 10 wins, you know, and yeah, Blackwings, just a really good deck. I think this one with Blackwings specifically was one of the ones I was most comfortable about, because I just know this is one of the best decks, and it's just a really great, it just absolutely crushes all the random decks. Like, it just absolutely beats down on all the rogue stuff, and just, yeah, crushes them. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to get better at retro format Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'll catch you in the next one.